Ladies and gentlemen, this is your final boarding call for the good ship SS tomorrow.
Today on Friendly Futurists, saving the events industry. And welcome back to another episode. And today, sometimes in life, the journey rather, is not a straight path. And today's guest, Luke Trickett, is no exception. See, in his younger days, Luke was on the national swimming team, but now he's got a fintech startup called Backpocket, which sort of gives you the chance to, as a group, purchase things like event tickets or restaurant bills, collaborating with your peers, family and friends. Now, in this cost of living crisis that we seem to be in, or you're playing locally 'cause he lives, this is actually quite a clever solution. I do like sometimes a very clever fintech, and Luke is no exception, and he's coming up after the break. Today we've got a Luke Trickett here, formerly a national swimmer. Now he's pivoted towards tech entrepreneur, and he's got a solution to perhaps cost of livings, particularly with events and ticketing and everything like that. Luke, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. And as for all my guests, can you just give my listeners a quick rundown of your journey so far? Start wherever you want to start.
Yeah, so I think, as you mentioned, I used to swim competitively. That was kind of in my youthful years. And then kind of moved into finance, working in financial services. I was always really interested in finance. Initially started as stockbroker before moving to set up my own managed fund and, where I was investing on behalf of other people. And I guess through that process, really kind of focused on particular industries, payments, financial services, technology. And I guess a lot of kind of meandering and tortuous pathways followed. I've come out probably 14 years later after starting the fund to today with, Backpocket, which is a payment method designed specifically for groups and enabling them to kind of, more easily navigate the cost of living pressures that we're all feeling today and, still get out and be able to share experiences with their family, friends, whoever it is.
Yeah. And like for entrepreneurs, sometimes there's a spark. And what was the spark to that aha moment saying, right, I'm going to create Backpocket?
Yeah. So I guess part of that kind of period of my life, which I brushed over just a moment ago, my wife and I were kind of really living hand to mouth almost, as I was trying to set up my businesses and really kind of reliant on kind of her income, which was very lumpy and sporadic. And there was one moment when she was actually out with her girlfriends. She'd had lunch and it came to paying for the bill. And she said, as you kind of do, you share the cost around each time you catch up with your friends. And she said, I'll get it this time. And she paid for it, but her card actually declined. And it was very kind of, I think, embarrassing for her at that point in time where she didn't have enough money in the bank account to pay for the three of them going out to lunch. And so what actually happened is that they then just each paid their share. But, if there was the payment service at that point in time to enable Lib to be able to pay for the group expense, but only pay her share and then pass on seamlessly the share of her other mates at the lunch, then it would have completely avoided that situation.
Fantastic. And so how does it work? Can you explain to me how Backpocket works, say, if I'm like 12?
Yeah. I'll try. I've got 8, 6, 4 and 1 year old. So if you're 12, it's going to come to a level that I haven't yet experienced. But Let's try. So similar to many other payment methods, when you're purchasing, say, tickets for a festival online, you can check out with, any of the providers that are currently listed. You can pay with your card. Likewise, you can choose Backpocket. If you choose Backpocket and say you've bought 4 tickets, each of them costing $100, the total basket, the total kind of checkout amount is $400. Then using Backpocket, you can just pay for your share, your single ticket of $100. Backpocket will settle the full transaction. So we'll pay for all 4 tickets. You will receive all 4 tickets to the festival, and you receive a nice link very kind of seamlessly, easily at the end of that transaction that you can share with your mates via any of the communication methods that you talk to your mates with, WhatsApp, Messenger, iMessage, it doesn't matter. And they can access a link. They'll pay for their share. Maybe it's 1 ticket. Maybe there's a couple going. They pay for 2 tickets, and everyone just settles up in their own time. But, you've still been able to organize your group at that point in time. There might be time pressures around securing the tickets. You've been able to secure the tickets, but yet still only pay for your share. You haven't had to stump up and pay for everyone and then come back and over time trying to claw or remind your friends politely that they still have to pay for that ticket.
Okay, and apart from event tickets, obviously, what other product and services can you use Backpocket for?
Yeah, so Backpocket is really for anywhere where multiple people are coming together and there's some sort of transaction that's required. So, group experiences are, key for us too. The live entertainment industry is obviously, one where we're heavily present and visible at the moment. But really, it's any shared experience that, there's paint and sip providers. There's quite a few of those that are around and available. So really, it's enabling that kind of group experience to happen a lot more seamlessly whenever kind of multiple people are coming together.
Fantastic. And how has how's it going so far? How's the market responded to the product?
Yeah, really well. Obviously, it's something that you're particularly kind of nervous about when you're launching and releasing a new product. But I guess the reviews that we've got are 4.9 stars, but just consistently getting those really top level reviews come in. The anecdotal feedback of hearing from the customers about, how this has taken a stress away, or it's, really solved an issue for them that they've just kind of muddled their way through in the past is really kind of rewarding to hear, because again, it's something that I've lived through. My wife and I have lived through. We know what it's like. So to hear kind of other people now using the product and being spared the kind of experience that Liv and I, particularly Liv at that point in time, had to go through, then it's just really encouraging, really rewarding. And likewise, from the merchant side, like those merchants that use Backpocket as a payment service, hearing, we're improving the customer experience when someone books an event or purchases tickets, increasing the average number of tickets sold in an order. I think for Backpocket, it's around 4.5 tickets in each transaction. Each time someone uses Backpocket, there's about 4.5 tickets being purchased on average. So yeah, knowing that we're bringing that value to the merchants too is really obviously important and rewarding.
Yeah. And it seemed to, if I'm right in saying, you seem to sort of capture the mindset of the Generation Z, the youngins these days, the up and comers. And how did you manage to do that?
Yeah, well, I think it's a product that lends itself to some of the challenges of the time, as we've heard, kind of the cost of living. So again, not needing to stump up the total cost for everyone is important, and it just helps those people kind of navigate and complete a transaction. But what we've found actually quite surprisingly is the product being used by multi-generations. So yeah, millennials, Gen Xers even are using the product a lot stronger. Like the adoption across those generations is a lot stronger than we expected.
Wow. I guess too that, because he lives, it's been a hot topic in the media. So I guess this collaborative consumption is a very smart strategy to overcome this?
Yeah. And I think there's a number of kind of things going on in society, larger things at play longer term. The adoption of digital technology and social media and how that's kind of actually regressing people's real world social interactions. These are kind of headwinds that society has had in terms of like getting out there and, going to the bowling alley or laser tag or paint and sip or festival, whatever it might be. These things kind of aren't occurring as much as they used to frequently. So, if we can get in there and with our kind of service, help to open them back up or at least remove some of the friction that has prevented people from going and actually organizing that event or reducing the kind of mental load that people kind of feel. And it's very much a real thing. I think, just having that kind of sense of, it's just so hard. Like nowadays, cost of living, it's, organizing my mates and, obviously paying for the financial cost of the event. If we can kind of help take out some of that admin, some of that overhead, then we really hope that we're helping, just helping people get back out, get out in the real world and, share life's moments together with those people that are closest to them. So that's kind of what's really driving the team and why we're kind of really energized by building the product.
Awesome. And let's cast our mind of a crystal ball in about 5 to 10 years' time. Where you see this sort of fintech space playing out?
Well, I think there's lots of things kind of at play at the moment. Obviously, cryptocurrency kind of comes and goes. There's a lot of, certainly here in Australia, there's a lot of vibrancy that's kind of carried off the back of, success stories like Afterpay, which is really, really good to see. And I think there's a lot of opportunity there as we kind of, and certainly from our point of view, as you kind of see intersections of, I guess, society or kind of trends happening. If that's, for us, it is the kind of intersection of a transaction with a social interaction. So for me, where I see kind of fintechs going and success happening is where they can lean into some sort of kind of trend or an intersection of various things coming together and kind of really amplifying the dynamic there that wasn't previously possible.
Awesome. And look, is there anything I didn't ask but should?
Oh, look, I think it's been, a good chat, but to me, I think like one of the challenges, the cost of living is, is certainly something on the consumer side. But if we look and think about fintechs, their equivalent is how do they access capital? If you've got an idea, it's one thing, but then to actually go about pursuing the idea and building it is another thing, and typically requires money. And, where, certainly fintechs in particular have been challenged in the past is, how do they access that capital to be able to pursue that idea? And, I think that's a challenge that they've got ahead of themselves to allow these ideas to germinate into something that is a product that can be used by people and deliver real world value. So I know that's an experience, a challenge that I've lived through, for the past 2 years in particular, but that's kind of a very kind of present obstacle for many businesses that are young and starting up, particularly now with interest rates going up and capital harder to come by.
Yeah. Luke, it's awesome chatting to you this afternoon, but finally, before we go, where else can we find you?
So you can find Backpocket at our website, backpocket.com.au. We're available on many different festivals and ticketing platforms. So you should come across us if you're booking a ticket and to a live event. But likewise, I guess probably most importantly, if you don't see us there, we're our team's doing our best kind of getting onboarded as far and wide as possible. But if you don't see us there, be sure to drop us a line either through our website or on our Instagram, on our social handles, and let us know where you want Backpocket to be visible. Tag us, tag the merchant or the business that you want to kind of book an event through, and we will be there in probably a short period of time.
Excellent. Well, Luke, thank you very much for coming onto the show.
No problem, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. And thank you to Luke for his input, and Alex and the team over at Swing and Stone for once again making a great introduction. Keep up the good work, guys. The Friendly Futurist is a Podcast West production, has been produced and edited by me, Dave Mark. If you love this show, please leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcasting platform. Until next time, friends, remember to stay curious, and the future is user-friendly.
Another Podcasts West production.
This podcast is just for educational purposes and it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial planner or advisor. Please do your homework and seek professional help before you take on any adventures.